Hey, Chrymzon here, and we have a new update to the Saints Row website, but before I get into that, I want to clarify a few things from the previous updates that I missed. The first one is that the Mexican gang symbol is pretty much almost an exact replica of the skull that is shown on the back of Killbane in the mission where you kill him. Now there are a few differences. The first one that comes to mind is that at the top of the skull, the Morningstar logo has been replaced with this new symbol. I'm not entirely sure what that means. In episode 1, I speculated that this might in some way tie into the Brotherhood. And then they have also added in flowers underneath the skull. If anyone knows what type of flower this is and what its meaning might be in the language of flowers, just let me know. And then other than that, one little piece of information that might be useful is that in the original Saints Row the 3rd, this skull was just pure green. And in the remastered version of Saints Row the 3rd, they've added more color to it, specifically the red. And the next piece of information is that someone pointed out to me that one of the animals on the mural might be referencing a stag, which would further support my whole conspiracy theory about how this is some sort of organization that's trying to root out the gang violence from the streets. What we're seeing here might literally be the very beginning of the Stag Initiative. Alright, now let's get into the actual video about this new update. The first thing you'll notice is that when you go to the website, it doesn't look like anything's changed. In order to see the new update, you have to click on this button that is supposed to be a reference to a UV light or an ultraviolet light. Now, one of the easiest things to kind of discern from this image right away is the ONL. This is likely in reference to the Gamescom event called Opening Night Live that is happening on August 25th, 2021. So everyone out there that is super hyped and thinks that this is a release date, you might want to cool your jets a little bit. Something that may or may not be related to this is that ONL could also possibly stand for online, and this might be hinting at a Saints Row Online similar to the first two games, but still that's really flimsy evidence. I wouldn't put too much faith in it. Now, some of you might remember from episode 3 that I was saying that I had absolutely no idea how the Deckers would tie into this at all. Well, guess what? I kind of have an idea. This shade of blue, more than any of the other shades of blue on any of the other gangs, this one is the most similar to the Deckers shade of blue. And one thing that's really interesting is that ultraviolet lights are used in forensics to examine crime scenes. Now, can any of you think of a character that is related to perhaps some sort of government agency, perhaps like the FBI, that might be using an ultraviolet light in order to examine crime scenes? So what I'm thinking here is that Kinsey Kensington, who used to be an FBI agent until she was kicked out because of the Deckers, might be returning. Now, this part of the video, I'm going to be getting even more speculative than previously. In episode 0 of this series, I mentioned how the little bits of graffiti in the background might be hinting that there's some sort of secret society. Well, Kinsey is a conspiracy theorist, so I'm thinking here that maybe Kinsey and the Deckers to some degree know about this secret society. I also think that it's really interesting how this secret society is trying to blend in with the background and go unnoticed, while the Deckers on the other hand are taking a different route where they're at the forefront of this image and they're just hiding in plain sight. What I'm thinking is that the Deckers and the secret society might be at odds with one another, and there's possibly this secret war that's going on in the background of this game. Now, some of you might be wondering, okay, you've explained a lot of all this other stuff, but what about the self-made and the GK? What do those stand for? Well, my best guess to the self-made thing is that ultraviolet can see more than just blood. It can see a lot of different bodily fluids, and I'm thinking that this might be an adult-themed joke that they worked into this image. As for the GK, I have absolutely no idea. This video might not have been as impactful as my other ones, but I hope you took something away from it, and I hope to see you all in the next one.